Everybody, Greg Bush back here with some more trumpet tips for you. I'm the trumpet teacher at Vancouver Island University, and I'm here with my my buddy and colleague Ben Henriquez. We're hanging out talking about trumpet and having a few laughs at the same time about this, and basically swapping some stories. But I wanted to say a few things about articulation. It's very important to have good control of how you are tonguing and articulating the notes. Not just in jazz music, which is a jazz program here, but just in general, any kind of a trumpet playing, brass playing, any instrument for that matter. Piano players call it the touch. I think drummers call it the touch as well. Wind instrument players talk about the way we tongue the notes. Articulation is very, very important. And many different jazz musicians, particularly jazz trumpet players, articulated the notes very differently. That was part of their sound. So can you tell the difference between Miles Davis or Lee Morgan or Freddie Hubbard? Not just by the tone of their instrument, but also by the way they are articulating the instrument. But again, if we think back to one of the earlier videos I did about how important blowing through the horn is and keeping the breath support going and the airflow going. So what you want to do is, again, you want to develop the habit of just taking a big breath and blowing air constantly. You can do it through the air, and then you can do it through the horn. I'll show you. So you notice I didn't stop the air. I didn't go, but it was one continuous exhalation of the air. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to do this. And what my finger did was interrupted the airstream. I didn't go, that would be extremely awkward and extremely uncomfortable. So I'm letting my finger interrupt the airflow, right? Well, we can use the tongue to imitate what the finger was doing by doing this. Notice I didn't stop the air. I didn't go and huffing one puff of air for every note. So you want a continuous airflow and have the tongue interrupt the notes. Let's sound a pitch again. And not. So keep in mind for articulation, make sure that the airflow is steady and your tongue is just interrupting the notes. Staccato tuning. You ask kids what staccato means, they usually say short. Well, that's not exactly accurate. Separated is a better definition of what staccato is, because to get the point across, I'm like, play staccato half notes. 2, 3. Well, you wouldn't call those short notes, but there's a separation between them. Many years ago, someone was telling me, suggested to me, in terms of a nice legato tongue, think of, and he used, I think this predates the metric system, so he was like, think of half a dozen pounds of butter, and you're laying them, setting them up together, or bricks for that matter. So do we see? If I do it this way, we can see the end and we can see the start. We can see the end, we can see the start. So when you're doing your legato tonguing, all you're going to hear is the start. So I'm not thinking of an end to the note. I'm thinking of. So earlier I was talking about, the finger interrupts the airstream, the tongue interrupts the airstream. Sorry, I keep walking off camera. The tongue interrupts the airstream. And he suggested to me for staccato, he's like, give the illusion, I'm not a very good artist here. He's like, give the illusion that the notes are separated. But if you notice, they're still kind of connected, right? You're not ending one and starting the other. But by putting a little bit of a decay on the note, it's almost sounding like the notes are separated. And this, of course, will give more weight to the tone or body to the tone, because you don't want to be playing. Now, you might want to play that way if that's the tune that you're playing. But I'm thinking of doing that and maybe giving the illusion that there's a slight separation between the notes and making them sound staccato as opposed to. I never stopped going. But it's almost thinking about how I'm going to release the note or not release the note. Yeah, articulation, very important.